Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. Today, we're going to talk about some paranormal events that we've experienced, so stay tuned and enjoy.
Hey, to whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying.
This is Cade, and welcome to Pride Lands. I'm your host, Cade, with Lucy. Introduce yourself, Lou.
What's going on, gang? Have you had a dream that occurs multiple times? Like you've dreamt of it multiple times, different occasions.
I don't think so. Not so much. It's been more of I've had fucking terrifying dreams. I actually had my first, it was maybe a year ago. My first, what is that called? When you're not all the way in the dream or out of the dream?
Yeah. Like almost like lucid.
A lucid dream?
No, lucid dream is when you can control your dreams and shit.
What is, I forgot what that's called.
Well, dude, so, I've had this one dream, right? And I've had it multiple times. I actually haven't had it in a while now, but I remember first time I had it was we were living in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. Dude, and I was probably 8 years old, and then it happened again 5 years later. And then another time after that. But what it was is, so it always scared the shit out of me. But I was on an island,
Hmm.
and it was in the sky floating. So, and I was on the edge. So if I was to look down, it was just white clouds, And then across was another island,
Yeah.
We were all just floating. You couldn't see the ground, just clouds everywhere. So then I fucking started walking the line, because just started walking down the fucking edge of the fucking trees, and I see this woman wearing all white, but I can't see her face. She's wearing white, this white dress, long dress, black hair, but I still can't see her face. So I start walking towards her, and then right before I get to her, she starts fucking floating across to the other island, dude, And then so then out of nowhere, I start fucking floating across. And she's over there waiting. But I still can't see her face. And, it's really bright outside. But as soon as I start getting closer and closer and closer to the other side of the island, everything just starts going dark. And right before I get to her, I wake up. And I've had that 3-4 times.
Okay, that kind of gives me creeps because I did have this one dream that kind of reminds me of that in a way. But I wasn't on an island or anything. I was in this fucking hallway, black, dark, and there was a flickering light just right above.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this exit sign, and it was in red, and it was kind of flickering too. And then you could see this kind of door frame sitting there. And then looking at the door frame, there was a woman in white with black hair, and I could just see the figure of it standing in front of the doorway staring at me. And I knew the only fucking way out was through that exit. But I was like, I'm not going through that fucking exit. Hell no, I'm not going through that. So I was just looking around, and I just saw this wall, the wall next to me, and I just started hitting this wall, kicking it, doing anything. And then next thing I knew, I just fucking woke up and punched the wall next to me. Yeah, it fucking terrified me. And I was 23.
So, want to hear another fucking... This one's really fucking trippy. So, this dream I've had it multiple times as well,
Mm-hmm.
And so, a little backstory, right? So when I was younger, I lived in Mexico, and then fucking I did pre-K and kindergarten down there. And I moved to the United States and fucking went to school, So I had this dream where I was riding in a truck, right? And it was dark.
Yeah.
And there was I want to say 5 of us. There was the driver, passenger, and in the back seat, the guy next to me. I was sitting in the middle, and then another guy to my right, And we were driving, pretty fast, whatnot, going through this road, and it was still dark. It was early in the morning, it was dark. And there was this little bridge coming up, right? And we're, speeding, driving by there. And next thing you know, we see like a bright light, you know, like a really bright light that like kind of blinds us, and like the truck crashes. But right before the impact, it switches to where I'm a little kid riding in the back of a pickup, you know, down that same road during the day. And we're about to get over that bridge, you know, we go over the bridge, and I see down, and there's these like 4 or 5 crosses where people have passed away.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, and then that's my dream ends, you know. I've had that one a few times, and I didn't think much of it. When I was 18 years old, this was probably like fucking 15, 16 years that I decided to go back to Mexico to visit. Okay? And then, I was sleeping there, you know, I was sleeping in my grandma's house, and then I had that dream. So I fucking woke up, and I told my cousin about it, you know, because he's like around my age, and I was like, yeah, I just had this weird ass dream where this and that, you know. I explained to him the dream, and he just looked at me, you know, and he's like, come with me. And I was like, okay. And we go inside the house, and he's like, tell to her where my grandma was at, and he's like, tell her your dream. And I was like, okay, you know. I explained to her the dream, and they ended up taking me to that same bridge, and there was those crosses, and apparently my grandpa was, those guys were going to work, and he was supposed to be going with them, but like woke up late or something. But those guys on the way to work ended up crashing their truck, and they passed away, and those crosses are there, like in the bottom of that bridge.
Dude, that's fucking creepy.
They don't know what caused the crash or anything. They think like maybe he fell asleep or something. But they like drove off, and fucking now those crosses sit there.
Dude, that's a little fucking creepy. It's like some of those dreams where I hate having, almost like where you feel like you had a dream and then it becomes reality. Like you're sitting in their moment and you almost feel like you're predicting what's going on. And I forgot what it's actually called, because it's not actually deja vu, like what it's called.
No,
they have a different class.
Like in Mexico, they say like your spirit like starts wandering, and you know, like you go through all this, and like yeah, dude, but like crazy shit happens. I'm sure that, you know, crazy shit happens all the time, but like in Mexico, dude, we always hear stories. Like my parents. So my mom, when she was little, she's got like, I want to say 5 sisters, you know, and her little sister would always say that there was someone at the window, someone in the window, you know, like she was like, there's a man out there in the window, and you know, my grandparents just dismissed it, like just go back to sleep, you know, like whatever. But she kept seeing this guy at her window, you know, and then one day it was like raining or something, you know, and she was in her room. Like my mom, I think, was like sleeping in her room with her or whatnot, you know. They were just sleeping, whatever. And she woke up screaming, you know. My mom's sister, her little sister, woke up screaming. And then they're like, "Whoa!" Like, you know, her mom runs in and everything, like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And she was like, "He scratched me! He scratched me!" And I think they like lifted up her shirt or something, and on her back she had like claw marks, like someone scratched her.
Freddy Krueger shit, right there.
Saying that, you know, it was the man at the window. And they're like, so her dad, you know, my grandpa, goes outside and starts looking around. Windows were closed and everything, dude, you know. And then they started hearing like the dogs were barking, and then they started like whining, you know.
Yeah,
whining. So then they took them all into one room, you know. And my grandparents stood awake, just like watching them, you know, making sure like nothing happened to them. But yeah, dude, something like,
dude, some of that
attacked her, but like her window was closed and everything.
Dude, you know what's... I've always wanted to do some of those ghost paranoia... Wow. Yeah, paranormal activity stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was like watching that stuff as a kid, and it used to scare the shit out of me, but they would never find the ghost. But that stuff always kind of annoys me, because they spend one night there between the hours of 12 and 3. Yeah. And they're like, no ghost, it's fine. Yeah, nothing there. Like, but no, those, like, Mexico's really good with, not really good, but like they're very into the spiritual like stuff, right?
And like, so my grandma, right, she had like cancer and a bunch of other like diseases, you know, like, and they just like came out of nowhere, you know, like out of the blue, you know. She fucking had cancer, you know. She'd been healthy her whole life, but she had cancer. And so you know, I started going to the doctor or whatever. And one day she was, I think they were out in like out in the town, you know, fucking this is in Mexico, out in the town eating and whatnot. And a car drove by, you know, this like fucking black car drove by with like this guy and this girl in there. They drove by a few times before they pulled over. And the lady, you know, walks up to her. They didn't know each other, you know. They don't. The random stranger walks up to her and she was like, "You're really sick," and she was like, "What?" She's like, "I can tell." She's like, "You're really sick. You're going through a lot right now." And she was like, "Yeah," you know, like all confused. And she's like, "Just know that this isn't gonna like kill you. You're gonna live to be really old. You're gonna live a long time." She's like, you gotta, I told her she had like another like 20 something years to live, 20 years or something like that. And she's like, after your third visit, like serious visit to the hospital, you know, you're gonna be coming to an end. And she's like, okay, you know. And then she was like, someone like brought this upon you, you know. And then she's like, what? She's like, she's like, we can send it back, you know. But my grandma didn't want to, because she was like, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, you know, whatever. So she, let's see, she passed away in October, this last October, 2023, right? And right before she did pass away, you know, 'cause she was an old lady. She lived to be she lived to be old. And while she was there, you know, she was talking to her daughters and everything, and then she was like, she remembered, she was like, it's been, you know, like 20 something years. And then right before that, you know, right before she passed away, she had got really super sick and had to go to the hospital. You know, and that was her third time, you know, her third like serious time where actually she had like emergency room type, you know, not just like a checkup. But yeah, that was her third like serious time. And then that's when after that she was like, it's been 20 something years. And a few days after that, she passed away.
Dude, some of that stuff, the supernaturals and it's like, I don't know, some of those people kind of scare me a little bit. Some of the stuff really is creepy if you really think about it. And like some of that stuff interests me, though. I'm very interested in that stuff. But it's also like paranoia, because you don't know exactly what you're dealing with. And I guess like we have this friend that I'll have to actually have you meet him or something like that, or talk about. But he actually joined a cult, and he didn't know it. And they had him, he tells the story a little bit better, and with full detail, but he went to this cult. It was in somebody's house in the basement. They were wearing like gowns. The guy came out with a goat head on, and they had a pentagram on the ground. And they were doing this chant and things like that. And he was kind of like, didn't want to be rude and be like, you guys are fucking crazy, and leave. Especially like, in his opinion, I would probably be like, I fucking walked in the wrong house. Like, I don't want to, I might be a human sacrifice if I leave this shit right now. And they started like doing these chants and everything. And I think he decided to leave. And the wife of the kind of grand whatever the hell he is she told him that he's gonna have really fucking weird dreams. And he was talking about this dream that he was having where there was like this, he'd be in these hallways and he would be running and he like trying to chase after this object, and you'd see like hooves, like he'd dart around the corner, you'd see a hoof, he'd be charging it, and every time he'd try to get closer and closer, you can never get it right before he'd wake up. I mean, right before he would grab it, he would wake up. And he had that recurring dream for like years, or like a year. And finally he'd get closer and closer, and he would go to rip him around, and then he would wake up. And then finally he ran, grabbed him, ripped him around, and I guess it was like him. Really? And it was like, and then he just, and then that was it. Like he never had any more weird dreams after that. And I think he recited one of the chants or something like that in a place I was living in, and I was seeing weird shit,
really,
like creepy stuff, where I was sitting there in the kitchen, and I had a porch right out front, and I was doing something, and all of a sudden I saw some like a black figure like walk across the window, and I was like, oh, somebody's here. And I walked up. I thought they were trying to get in or something, and I just didn't hear them, and they were looking to see if I was there. Walked up, no one was around the property, and I was just hearing, like, you could hear like weird noises. I guess like there's a lot of stuff that was going weird, but that set shivers down my spine. Like, seeing black figures in houses really creeped me out.
Yeah, dude. So I remember I was at one of my buddy's house, right? It was in GR actually, and his room was down in the basement. And then I remember he went out to the store or something, and I stayed at the house, and there was no one else there. It was just me, I think his mom was working and whatnot, so I had the house to myself. And he always kept his light on in the basement, so I remember going to the restroom, and I closed the door, right? And you know how like on the bottom of the doors you see a little there's a little gap, you can see the light coming through. Well, when you stand in front of it, it casts a shadow.
Yeah.
So I saw that, like someone was standing in front of it. So but I didn't think much of it, I was like, oh, it's just my buddy that probably just got back from the store. So then and then I walked away. So I was like, oh, whatever. Opened the door, and then realized no one was there. Fucking 30 minutes later, he finally comes back from the store. It was just some random like shadow or some dude that was just fucking standing there.
I had this weird experience. It was after my grandma passed. I think it was my grandpa ended up remarrying. He used to go see her every Memorial Day.
Yeah.
He'd go and see her, and it was the first time he hasn't went to see her in several years. The first time he ever didn't go up to the grave and give her flowers because he was out on a trip.
Yeah.
And we were taking care of their house, making sure nothing was going on. And we were driving up there after, I think we dropped off flowers at the grave. And we were heading over to check on the place. And my brother was like, who's that in the front yard? And he was like, my mom's like, who? And he was like, the person right there, like right next to the fence, like going in the backyard. And she was like, I don't see any. He was like, just pull over. And he like got out, and we like rushed out, and we walked over, like we ran over to the fence, and we were going to open up the gate.
Yeah.
And then we just stopped because we heard like crying, like really faint crying, like a little, like a girl, like a woman crying. And it just we were just standing there. And we were like, what the fuck? So we opened up the gate, ran back there, and there was no one back there.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that one was my only, and it was not like I was just hearing stuff, because me and my brother both just stopped. And I don't know why, because it was just like this weird instinct to just not go back there.
Yeah.
And we just sat there and listened to the whole thing just start crying. And yeah, and then it just faded away, and then there was nothing there.
Dude, so my mom, when she was younger, right? So her mom's brother, which would be his uncle, right? So he passed away, right? But he was murdered in Mexico.
Oh.
He was murdered. And but my mom was too little to like understand what was going on, So they were having like his funeral or whatnot, at my grandma's house.
Yeah.
And her little sister, my mom's little sister, needed a pee. So mom's like, okay, just take her like around the house, fucking to go use the restroom. And so they walked around. It was nighttime, and so there's trees around their house, so like fucking covers the moonlight and everything,
Yeah.
So mom was just standing there waiting for her little sister to finish, when she comes out running and crying, and she's saying that she saw her uncle, and he kept like waving her over, asking, like telling her to come here, just waving her over, and then so they run to my grandma, and she's like, hey, like our uncle, keeps waving me over and over, and my grandma's like, it's not possible, like it can't be, it can't be him. And then she describes what he's wearing, like this red shirt and this red shirt, white shorts, something like that, describes what he's wearing. And then so my grandma was like shocked. And my mom, so when the cops came over, to tell my grandma what happened and everything, you know. They had a book with all the pictures of the crime scene, you know. My mom looked at the book, and it was, that's what he was wearing, was a red shirt, you know, with like white shorts. You know?
Yeah.
But that's the clothes that he was wearing when he got murdered.
That's creepy. Do you ever wonder if those are like evil spirits?
Yeah, like why would he be calling her over?
Or like that's the creepy part. Like
You know?
why? Like because it's one thing. Like a lot of those times, maybe they're trying to, you know, influence you because they're trying to like show you like compassion. So they give you a face that you recognize.
Yeah.
And I think, who knows? And if they can manipulate like objects or like visions, it's like that. Does that stuff ever kind of creep you out? That maybe, like,
want to hear another like?
Yeah.
So me and Mom were talking about this. So you know how my brother passed away not so long ago, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked to a medium, you know,
Mhm.
and one of the things she said was that you know how someone like pretty much like brought this upon him, you know, like was like doing some like
manipulation kind
weird
of
fucking shit,
like
you know,
voodoo
type
like,
fucking So the thing, you know, the lady said that, and she was like, death was already like watching him, you know, like they were already watching him for a while. And so we're just like, okay, whatever, you know. And then we started remembering that one of the times my brother came to town to visit, you know, he stayed at my parents' house and whatnot in his old room, and that he woke up in the middle of the night or like early in the morning, right? Because he just like out of nowhere and looked at his door, because he always kept his door open, and he saw like a man standing there just watching him, black figure, but he just thought it was my dad, you know. Because like my dad would like wake up and like check on us and stuff, you know, when we were little. So he just figured it was my dad, you know, and didn't think much of it. You know, the next morning woke up and told us, you know, like, oh, I saw like them, like, oh, I saw my dad like fucking came and fucking was like watching me and whatnot. And then my dad's like, what are you talking about? You know, like, oh, it wasn't me. They're just like, oh, you're probably just dreaming it. You're probably just dreaming it, you know. And he saw that a few times, you know, black figure that was standing in his doorway just watching him. And, you know, we started putting it together. We're just like, well, the lady said, you know, that they were already around him. They were already, like, watching him. So what if what he saw was, you know, like, death or something, you know? Just like,
that's...
because like, they would just, like, get closer and closer.
Yeah. I was like, that stuff's kind of, like, fucking terrifying. Like, and I don't know if it's... I feel like some people, and it might be even some cultures, are more like how was that word? Like,
What do you mean?
susceptible to paranormal stuff. And I feel like, because my brother was a little bit more connected to paranormal than I was. My brother, there's this story after my grandma died. He was spending the night, or somebody was spending the night with him, and he woke up to seeing my grandma, like younger, black, like dark hair, like not white or anything, just like black hair. And then there was a vase, or not, or like a lamp sitting on the dresser. And he saw her just staring at him and smiling. And then like he like freaked out and like kind of like woke up, and he ended up talking to my mom about it, and he thought it was a dream and everything. He started describing the lamp, and the lamp was exactly the same lamp that it was hers, that was given to my sister, that broke before my brother was born.
Damn.
It was the same color and everything. He would have never known what it looked like. And it was just kind of really creepy that he was able to, but he dealt with more of that stuff than I did. And I don't know if it was like maturity level or something, or like just feel like a feeling. I feel like some people that are more acceptable, like accept it more, are more likely to kind of view more paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Stuff
you know,
creeps
they
me
say
out.
that like dogs, like cats, children.
It's like,
like
dogs. Like, well, when my father passed away, we were living in his house, and I kind of like woke up because I was sick from school, and I was laying in bed and I was facing a wall, and then there was the window was behind me, and I saw this figure go across the hallway, and it was like a human figure, and I thought it couldn't have been the light because it was dark. Like, it's not like a car passed because it was the middle of the day, and the road's way over there, and it wasn't a light. It was like a shadow, a figure shadow. And my dog like popped up and just started growling. And I kind of thought it was weird, and I thought maybe it was my mom checking in on me, because I looked down the hallway and I saw this figure go like figure on the wall, kind of like shadow going across the wall down the hallway. And I was like, okay, it's my mom. So I kind of got up, walked out there, and then there was nobody in the living room, and I was like, that's weird. Looked outside and the cars were gone. And then it was like my mom wasn't home, and I was just like really freaked out. But my dog like saw it before I did. Like, I woke up and saw the figure, but she woke up and was not happy what was in the room.
Well, something like that happened to me once, dude. That's when I was living with my parents, and I was like younger, but so Max, the dog we have now, right? He would always either sleep. He would sleep in my brother's room, you know, but I don't know why this night he was sleeping in my room or whatnot. And I remember it was late at night, and I woke up to him growling. You know, he had like half his body sticking out the door, like looking down the hall, growling.
Yeah.
You know, the back of his hairs were just standing up and everything. And I kept yelling. I was like, Max, you know, I was like, shut up, you know, just trying to go to sleep. And he wouldn't move, you know, he just stood there just like growling. So I was like, what the fuck? So I remember, you know, waking up and standing up, and then I go and like put him in the room, you know, kind of like, and then I looked out down the hallway, you know, and I see a black figure, like a man. But it was all black, you know, couldn't see any details of him. So I'm just like, the fuck, you know? I was like, might be my parents or something, but like, what do they do in the middle of the night with all the lights off?
Yeah.
So I start walking down the hall, you know, and he's just standing there. And then once I get to him, dude, it's just like, it got cold, but like, once I actually got closer, it just disappeared. There was nothing there.
Dude.
And I finally, so I fucking turned the lights on and everything and looked around. You know, everything was normal, turned back off, fucking went back to the room, and Max was already laying down, fucking sleeping.
Like, have you seen some of those videos where dogs aren't acting like normal dogs?
Oh, yeah.
Like, or their dogs?
Or like those dogs that have like realistic, like human eyes.
Yeah. Like, there was
that.
this one video, I don't know why, if it's just the music that creeps me out, but this lady was like hiding in her bedroom. This dog was all excited and everything, and he was telling, like, she was sitting there and she was like, sit, and the dog sat, and she was like, spin around, and this dog spun around.
Her dog doesn't know how to do any
tricks. And he's like,
tricks.
you don't know how to do any trick. It was like, you're not my dog. And like slams the door.
Yeah.
Everything. And then the one where the dog's like scratching at the door, like insisting to come in.
Yeah.
Like just really aggressive. And they're like, my dog's in the house, so who's wanting in? What's wanting in?
Yeah.
And like that would kind of freak me out, because if you think about it, like, you're more willing to trust like an animal that looks just like your animal than anything else. Like, if it was a person, or like, I wouldn't be fucking letting anybody, especially if someone came knocking on my door screaming and everything. That's like a new tactic to fucking killers and everything to get into your house. It's like begging for help and everything. Then as soon as you open the door, they try to kill you. Like, but your dog.
Yeah.
Really. So I don't even know what I would do. I was like, because I would definitely want my dog in, but I would freak the fuck out if I looked over and my dog was sitting there. You know, like, that stuff kind of creeps me out.
Yeah, dude. Fucking, you know, that's fucking crazy, bro. I remember, so there's this thing in Mexico, they're called duendes.
What is it?
Duendes.
Duendes?
Duendes, that's what they call them in Mexico. But, a lot of people say they're kind of like, children that passed away before they were baptized. You know?
So creepy fuckers.
Yeah, so like, you know, Well, there was this lady in the town in Mexico that we're from, you know, and she had like a little daughter or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so they usually target them when they're like sleeping or something, you know. And then that's what they say, like when they start sleepwalking, you know. And like you can hear like the toys, you know, start playing with, like you can hear the toys moving and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, but they wouldn't think much of it. Well, you know, this lady, you know, with her daughter, you know, she was really young, and she started to like sleepwalking, you know, but her parents caught her a few times, you know, like put her back to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then so they're just like, people were like, well, you better watch out, you know, because what if it's like Los Duendes? And but her parents kind of dismissed it. But one of those nights, dude, she started sleepwalking, right? And they say this is what the Duendes did, you know. They got her to where they say this is what they do. They you know, get you to go outside your house, and then they just, you know, you're sleepwalking,
Mm-hmm.
and they pretty much just like take you out to the middle of nowhere, you know. And then when her parents like woke up, you know, the door was open, and her daughter was nowhere to be found, and to this day they haven't found her. You know,
Dude.
they say that they took her.
It's like, that shit's creepy. Like like Mexican lore is fascinating though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but very terrifying. Like, I feel like everything, like we had, like in America, it's like, what is it? Ring Around the Rosie, you know, things like that. Yours is like the fucking boogeyman of boogeymans. It's like, it was like everything, like is trying to fucking kill you. Like your nightmares, everything. It's like, that's fucking terrifying. It's like no, children scare me the most because they're like the most innocent. Like in my viewpoint, if I were to see a little like girl, like stranded a little boy, I'd be very like on foot, like trying to protect him. But if those things were trying to fucking kill me, like I'd definitely be like attacked. Like it would be really hard to persuade me to try to help a kid.
Oh yeah.
And I would fucking get murdered. Well, it's like, have you heard? I forgot what they're called. The children of like this certain mountain. It's a lore.
Oh
And
yeah.
then it's like,
but they have like really pale
skin, pale skin, and if you
let
like,
him in your house or something like that.
Yeah, they're fucking. We'll have to actually do a whole segment on fucking like lores and creep. I was like, that would be fun.
Oh yeah.
I'd fucking love that.
I heard this story, right? And so it goes like, so it's a single dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he's got a daughter, and she kept for the past, he was saying, you know, for the past 3 nights, she kept asking him to sleep in his bed. You know, she kept like, she'd call his name, and he'd wake up, and she was standing by his door, you know, being like, Dad, you know, can I sleep with you? You know, can I sleep with you? I'm scared. Can I sleep with you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he said that went on for a few nights. You know, where he would wake up to his daughter calling his name. She was standing by the door, asking if he can sleep in bed with her, in bed with him. You know, and then but the thing was that his daughter had passed away like the year prior.
Oh, that's creepy.
You know,
Fuck
and like at that point, like, what do you do?
Yeah, I was like, because part of me, I was like, you don't know if it's like your kid's spirit,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's something trying to get in.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the thing that gets me. It's like, you don't know if it's actually your child. You don't know if it's something trying to lure its way in and then fucking feed off of you.
I mean, like, I feel like as a parent, you know, if
that would be,
you know, you're going through grief and everything, you know, you just lost a child, you're more easily to
manipulate,
you know, like, because of course, like even me right now, dude, you know, like I saw my brother, and he was like asking to come in. Well, I mean, of course I'm gonna let him in.
You were like, what up, dude, come in.
You know, like, because like, you know, who doesn't want to?
Yeah, I was like, I get that.
So I feel like, you know, you'd be more easier to manipulate and get taken advantage of.
I was like, I wonder if that crap started happening to me when I was a kid. When my dad died, I was getting weird dreams, and I remember one, I was coming home from school, and this was like a while later, and all of a sudden I just saw my like dad like on the porch, and I like jumped the fence, ran and hugged him, and I was like, I thought you were dead and everything. And then I could feel where I would hug him and everything, and he was just remained silent. He didn't talk or anything, but he had just a smile on. And now thinking about it, it's more creepier now thinking about everything. But it was just, he never said a word and nothing. And he just sat there. He never even hugged me back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just stood there like planked. And I like held him. And then I started realizing I was having more of those things where I was seeing creepier stuff in the house. So I wonder if maybe thinking about it, something was trying to come in. And it was using the loss of like my father trying to get in. It's like, that's creepy. I never even fucking thought about that. I was like, because all these things, like, you never know. You never fucking know. It's like, who knows?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking. Or like, I think it was like a week after my brother passed away. You know, I was sleeping in my room, and I had my back turned to the closet. You know, and you know, I was kind of like laying there. I was like asleep, but you know, not like fully. When I felt like someone touched my back, I like felt like someone just came and put their hand on my back, and I fucking jerked real quick, you know, turned around, and like there was no one there. And then so when we moved into this place, we had a median or someone like come cleanse the house, you know, when they burn
Incense.
Yeah, they burn
it's like almost like a like a weed kind of thing.
Like
it's incense. Like it's I forgot what
to like cleanse.
Yeah, I was like, I forgot what it is, but it's a certain type of like brush or like.
Well, you know, this lady came and started like, you know, doing all that, and then she told us she went into, you know, my room and when, you know, started doing all that, and then when she got to the closet, right, she was like, it's really dark in here, like this closet is really dark. And she's like, started feeling like sick, you know, and she was like, there's a door in here. She's like, there's a door in here. She's like, this is like really bad. And then she gave us like some stuff. She's like, you must always like keep this in this room. She's like, cause like this room, like that, the closet was radiating like a lot of like bad energy, and she was just saying that there was like a door there, you know, and like that's literally like the only room in the house that like creeps me out. And I remember fucking like my old lady, dude, she was sitting here on this couch, you know, fucking I was out of town working, and just, you know, there's a room on the other side of this wall, and she started knocking like 3 knocks, you know, and like it freaked her out, you know, so she like ended up leaving.
Yeah.
And then after my brother passed, dude, I remember I was sitting here.
Oh. I was like, no, do you know what the thing of 3 knocks? It's a mock of the Trinity, of the devil.
What do you mean?
So 3 knocks, yeah, I think it's the Trinity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But they do knocking in 3s in the mock of the Trinity.
So they're mocking like the Lord and stuff?
Yeah, it's a mock of the Trinity.
Damn.
Yeah, I didn't realize, like, until I was like taking a second, then I realized that you said 3. I was like, yeah, I was like, that's creepy.
Yeah, it was just like right behind her, dude.
Yeah, it's a mocking of the Trinity. It's like apparently, yeah, that's creepy as fuck, dude. I never even thought about that. Holy shit! Like, yeah, it took me a second. Then I was like, did you just say 3?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's like a and that's in this place right now.
And I've had it to where, like, after my brother passed, I was sitting here and like that light right there actually started like flickering really bad, dude, and it did it for like 3 days, you know. Like not all the time, you know, but like it just started like flickering really bad. But I mean, it only did it for like 3 days, and after that it stopped doing it as well.
Yeah, that's fucking, you have some creepy shit, dude. I'm like, fuck.
I've had times where, like, my son, dude, he fucking was, like, scared of the closet, you know? Okay, he was, like, sitting up, you know, on the bed, and he was just, like, staring at it, you know, and he started crying, and I couldn't calm him down. He was just, like, scared. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Has anything been in the closet? Have you ever checked the closet?
What do you mean?
Like, if he's scared of the closet, have you ever, like, looked inside and seen what's in there?
My clothes?
I know, but any, like, markings, anything?
I have too much shit in there now, but if I didn't really pay attention to it or anything.
Thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed that episode, please like and follow Pryland Podcast on Facebook. And if you have any other recommendations on future episodes, don't hesitate to reach out to us on Facebook. Thank you and have a wonderful week.
The odds from stack back against the wall, but even consider it such, no, you'll stand tall.